Highly pathogenic avian influenza in dairy foods. The story so far, plus new research. It was something of a surprise to some in the United States food system when a small number of dairy cows were diagnosed with highly pathogenic avian influenza, AH5N1, in March 2024. The virus was also discovered in their milk. Since then, the infection has spread to many herds across the country, and viral material has been found in a significant number of samples of milk and other dairy foods in the United States. As of September 2025, the virus has been confirmed in over 1,000 herds across 17 states, including California, Idaho, Colorado, and Texas. Testing of raw, unpasteurized milk samples collected from silos at dairy processing facilities is performed by the USDA as part of its milk testing strategy. Milk containing infective viral particles could potentially transmit the disease to humans through both the respiratory route, that's by inhaling while eating or drinking, and the gastrointestinal tract. Pasteurization appears to inactivate the virus, rendering pasteurized dairy foods safe. Aged hard cheeses made from unpasteurized milk containing the virus may also be safe, with research ongoing. In addition to posing risks through contaminated milk, the presence of H5N1 in mammals such as cows raises serious concerns. Although the virus is extremely harmful to birds, it causes relatively mild symptoms in mammals like cows and humans and doesn't easily pass between mammals. However, the longer this pathogen circulates in mammals, the more likely it will gain genes for virulence or transmission that render it more deadly to human populations. Infected cows pose higher risk than other mammals infected with H5N1 because more of them are in closer proximity to more humans compared to other mammalian populations that have been infected in the past, such as seals. Timeline of H5N1 events. March 2024, highly pathogenic avian influenza is first detected in US dairy cows. May 2024, fragments of H5N1 viral RNA are found in milk, cottage cheese, and sour cream, all pasteurized at rates of 20 to 39% of samples, indicating the number of dairy herds infected with avian flu could be higher than previously suspected. Consumers warned to avoid raw milk, undercooked beef, and raw eggs. June 2024. The first case of a person being infected by dairy cattle is confirmed. A farm worker in Michigan who had close contact with livestock tests positive, experiences mild symptoms, and recovers. The number of affected dairy herds is reported to be approximately 52 in 9 US states, with reports later in the same month estimating 118 herds are affected. Research demonstrates that mice fed contaminated raw milk become ill, indicating the virus in milk can infect animals through consumption. The same study finds H5N1 can remain infective in refrigerated raw milk for several weeks. Traces of H5N1 are found in the meat of one culled dairy cow, although it did not enter the human food supply chain. July 2024. At the 2024 IAFP annual conference, experts revised their initial expectations, stating that resolving the situation will likely take months, if not years, not just the summer months as first thought. Experts at the conference note that raw milk consumption in the US has spiked since the outbreak became public knowledge. August 2024. The outbreak shows no signs of slowing, with the number of infected herds reaching almost 200 across 13 states. The virus begins to spread from dairy cattle to poultry farms. The USDA announces it will increase its beef testing, particularly from culled dairy cows, which are often used for ground beef. A survey of 167 retail dairy products finds H5N1 RNA in 17% of samples. No infective virus is found in any sample. The survey includes 23 samples of aged cheese made from unpasteurised milk, none of which contained the virus. 9 poultry workers become infected during the culling of birds that were likely infected by nearby dairy cattle. November 2024. The CDC publishes research showing H5N1 remained infectious in unpasteurised milk for more than 4 days under refrigeration. This study also provides compelling evidence that high-temperature short-time pasteurization effectively inactivates the virus. The USDA announces a monitoring program to collect and test milk samples from bulk lots for H5N1. A dairy in California recalls a lot of milk after a sample tests positive for an H5 virus, likely H5N1. December 2024. The USDA announces a national milk testing strategy requiring raw milk samples to be collected and shared for H5N1 surveillance. January 2025, a pet cat dies after being infected with H5N1 that is a genetic match to the virus found in its contaminated raw turkey pet food, leading to a product recall. New research shows that human influenza can remain infectious in refrigerated raw milk for up to 5 days. February 2025. The New England Journal of Medicine publishes an editorial warning that H5N1 could become significantly more dangerous to humans with just one genetic mutation. It highlights a lack of clear understanding of the virus's transmission and evolution, which could hinder efforts to protect communities. March 2025. H5N1 is found in 4 black rats, which are considered a high transmission risk due to their proximity to people and farm animals. 2 domestic cats are infected with H5N1, suspected to be from contaminated raw pet food. This leads to a recall, and 1 cat is euthanized. April 2025. The FDA begins a testing program on aged raw milk cheese to see if the aging process eliminates H5N1. Initial results from 110 of 299 planned samples show 96 test negative for the virus. June 2025, scientists studying H5N1 in US cattle highlight failures in surveillance and the risks of the virus adapting to mammals as it continues to circulate. And in September 2025, this month, new research is published about influenza A and the gastrointestinal tract. New research: influenza and the human gastrointestinal tract. Influenza A is a respiratory illness, meaning it affects your lungs and airways, or so scientists believed until recently. Now, new research has confirmed that influenza A can potentially also infect cells in the gastrointestinal tracts of animals. So, this is going to sound pretty weird, but this discovery isn't actually surprising to me. Many members of my immediate family experience digestive symptoms when we're suffering from common respiratory viruses like cold and flu. Science has now confirmed my suspicions with a new report by the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, summarizing the potentially infectious behavior of influenza A on the gastrointestinal tract of mammals. The work was done as part of the fact-finding needed to understand the risks of avian influenza, bird flu, in dairy foods. The latest research has shown that some strains of influenza A might be able to infect the human gastrointestinal tract, although there have been no confirmed human infections of H5N1 from consumption of cow milk or unpasteurized dairy products. Such information changes the risk profile of H5N1 in dairy foods, since the presence of infective particles is now understood to potentially cause infection through the gastrointestinal tract as well as the respiratory tract, which is caused by inhaling while eating and drinking. The good news is that pasteurization inactivates the virus in milk from infected cows, rendering it safe to consume and use in the production of other dairy products such as cheese. Takeaways. Don't be surprised to experience gastrointestinal symptoms from ordinary seasonal influenza. And please don't consume unpasteurized milk. The source for that new research is from the CDC, an article called Influenza A viruses may infect GI tract and cause digestive symptoms. There is a link, as always, available in the email and the post, and there is a link to the post in the show notes if you're listening on a podcast app. And I have compiled a complete collection of the Rotten Apples articles about H5N1 in food, plus a comprehensive library of references and sources. There is a link to access that huge collection also in the email and the post.